everything is cool and we're hanging around with the boys and so forth and so on, and then that's not enough. So now we have some weed and maybe we have some ecstasy and a little beer, and that's not enough. And before you know it, your whole life is out of control. And it all started with just hanging out. Before you know it. And then, let me tell you guys something. Once you cross the line of addiction, there's no going back. You don't have any choices. A lot of people think that you can just stop like that, just like put the brakes on, and it's over. No. Once you cross the line of addiction, you know what addiction means? It means that you can't live without it. It means your body is physically addicted to it. If you don't have it, your body goes into convulsions and so forth and so on. Now you don't have any choices at all. None. You're a slave to the drug. Straight out. That's just how it is. Now, today what I want to do is I want to talk about choices, because choices are so important. The choices you make today affect you tomorrow. I didn't know that. I didn't believe that. I believed that whenever I was young, everything was cool. I didn't have anything to worry about. My moms and pops took care of everything, had food to eat, roof over my head. All I had to do was go to school. I didn't think my choices meant a hill of beans. But I was wrong. I remember when I came up, my mother and father, my mother was a pastor, but my father was an alcoholic, and he, at the time, was a raging alcoholic. And at the time, I remember he used to physically abuse us and my mother. And I remember one day coming home from church, and we came home, went through the door. My father wasn't at the house for a couple of days. He came home, there wasn't dinner ready. I remember whenever that happened, we came through the door, and he started beating my mother like never before. Whenever that happened when we were kids, my two sisters and my younger brother would run into their bedroom, and my sister would kind of cover my little brother. He was small. He's 4 years younger than me. My brother, my older brother Lawrence, would sit in a chair, and he would rock and suck his two fingers. He was nervous. The house was crazy, yelling and screaming, and this is how we dealt with it. But me, I would try to fight my father and protect my mother. I remember this time. I remember I jumped on my father trying to protect my mother. He threw me off, and he continued to beat my mother. At that time, I got angry at God. At that time, I was saved when I was a young kid, and at that time, I got angry at God, and I made a decision. I said, I am not going to serve you anymore. I said, how can a God let his own servant be treated like this? I was angry. At 11 and a half years old, I made a decision to use drugs. It wasn't a decision to use drugs. I just didn't want to serve God anymore. I wanted to do the opposite. I went out, I started selling drugs. By the age of 13, I started using drugs. And then I was addicted, and it was a wrap.